be kind of stiff. Your bearings are nice and fresh. We move on to putting our hub on that we pressed our studs into. We're going to apply the brake caliper mount. Now this is not a stock item. This is a replacement for the stock item because we are going to use a larger rotor, which gives us clearance around the suspension and improves our braking. Now we can move on to putting our hub on. Simply slide it in, line up the splines, our washer, and our locking nut. In order to tighten the locking nut, we're going to have to keep the shaft from rotating. So what we're going to do is we want to put something down in here to a flat piece of material to keep that from rotating. In this case, we're going to put a piece of 1/4 inch in there. Somebody hold it in place for us. That's going to keep our shaft from rotating. So we tighten up our locking nut. Remember, it's a serious locking nut. Take our a 1/4 inch out of there. Got a zero play. Next thing we're going to do is going to want to square this outside carrier to the unit. That's going to let our wheels stand perfectly vertical. Left-hand thread and right-hand thread, it allows us to, you see the movement? We're going to look at a dimension. We're going to look on the outside of this brake mount, and we're going to look for, I'm a little over 16. Let's look down at the bottom. That says 12 inches, and that was over 12. Let's look in the front as well. Yeah, it's a heavy 16. Down here is a heavy 16 as well. So let's kind of shoot for an even number. Let's try. Let's look at the top. Let's go for 12 and a 16. Okay, we're looking right there. Or pick any place if you want. You know, if you want to be square. But I'm looking at 4 places: top and bottom, front and rear. 12 and a 16. Look in front. And a 16th, and 12 and a 16th. So that's telling us that we're vertically straight. And we'll just lock up our hardware. Remember, that was the left-hand thread. They're both going to be the same way. We're going to put a wrench here and a 15/16 lock. To lock it up, I'm going to put a 7/8 wrench on the flat. Tighten it up, I mean really tight. Okay, that's the same direction. Okay, once we got that in place, kind of get up straight again. Let's see if we can take another look at it just to double check and make sure nothing's moved. I don't think it has. Yeah, it looks nice. Over here. Okay. Okay. So you could measure to here, or you can measure to this flange if you wish. There's a good 4 points there as well, you know, or to the inside, whatever you feel good with. Next thing we're going to apply is going to be our bottom shock mount. Exciting, we're getting close, by the way. Get along now. 9/16. Get our fastener out of the way, and our spacers that go along with that put our shock in the center of our mount. You can put this bolt either front or back, whichever you prefer. Okay, that's in prep. Now we're ready for outside carrier is on. Our differential, our control arms are in place. Everything's nice and free. We've got everything torqued down. We got our brake mount in place. That's where our stock brake is going to go. Okay, it's coming up later, but we want to get our shock in and then taken care of before we do that. Okay. Okay, then we're going to put the back assembly on, the subframe. Remember the one that we modified early into the exercise? Put the 4 bottom screws in first. Just kind of snug by hand, up tight. Just close. Don't want to tighten them up. We want to center the assembly on the back. They give you an enormous amount of tolerance in those holes. We want to minimize that. Okay, baby. Okay, okay. Got it? Next thing we're going to put on is going to be our shock towers. That sandwiches with the rear assembly. Now it contacts the assembly at 3 points. These 2 fasteners here, and we're going to put a half-inch, half 13 screw in there. Our half 13s in there. Before we tighten the rest of the sub-assembly up, we want to get these in place. That's going to give us a self-center. That's going to create our shock mount. Now we're going to tighten all of our 9/16ths up. And our sub-assembly is going to be in place. That's going to create that top shock mount. Okay, now we got our extremely solid shock tower in. I'm going to put get to installing our shock. Spacer. Okay, we'll tighten that up. Now that we've got our top shock tower in, got everything all torqued in down here, notice how our Z bracket, what it did for us, it gave us the clearance on our suspension. And we're going to put our sway bar link in. We're going to put our link with a half 13 Allen head bolt, and we're going to add a flat washer up against the aluminum control arm. Bring the bolt in. That's going to be our attachment for the sway bar. Now we're going to put our sway bar in place using 3/8/16 by 1 hardware, along with flat washers and lock washers. Okay, and we're going to put our fastener in place. Half-inch, half 13 Allen bolt. I want to just simply tighten up our lock, and that's it. In preparation for putting our brakes on, we're going to put our 10 7/8 brake rotor on, and we're ready to proceed to put our brake calipers on. Last things we're going to put in, you put your brakes on already. Now we want to put on a bracket that's going to hold our parking brake handle. Put that baby in place. Stand it up. Goes on with two 3/8/16 1 bolts. Same size hardware will hold on the handle itself. The addition of a 1/4 bolt drilled and tapped hole in the center of the tube in the rear on your body mount. You can get the left cable pretty much out of the way and routed so when the body goes on it's not interfering. You might want to consider putting on a little guiding type clamp. These are the control arms are all drilled for a 1/4 screw. That'll pilot that and keep that from bouncing around and getting frayed up or whatever. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's a good suggestion. Final thing before putting the body on, you'll find this template in your box, cut it out and trace around the area and notch it out so that you've got plenty of suspension clearance.